Hello, welcome back everyone. And now in this session, we are going to deal about the problem that we have discussed in last video also, but with different approach. Like here we are going to solve the problem statement that has been asked in Adobe, Amazon and various product based company. And this is the one of the most favorite question. This is also from lead code medium stuff. So what we have to do, we need to find the consecutive numbers 2 and 3. Means the number is repeating 2 times or 3 times. In initial videos, we have solved this concept with the help of self-join. But now we have privilege, we can use any Windows function. Before diving into the video, I request you all kindly execute the script if you haven't, so that we both can solve the problem parallelly. Here we are having a table named as cities, which contains two columns, name is ID and num. So first of all, we will try to understand what do you mean by consecutive numbers. As you can see over the screen, here ID 1, 2 and 3 is having a number of 1, 1, 1. This 1 is repeating 3 times. So the numbers are repeating consecutively 3 times. So we can call this consecutive numbers. Similarly, for the ID 6 and 7, the number 2 is repeating 2 times. So we can call this number as consecutive number repeating 2 times. Okay, so how can we solve this? With the help of some advanced function. Just think about that. Kindly pause the video and think that you have learned from my last video, like what is self join, how can we use lead lag, how can we use row numbers, and so on. So if we can compare this current row, means the row 1 with the previous row and with the next row, okay, then we can solve the problem of consecutive numbers. Just taking one more example, like here I've just pointed the table, so to explain you more clearly. Okay, as you can see here, if anyhow we can compare the number 2 with the previous number and with the previous ID like 1, which contains number 1, and with the next ID 3, which contains number 1, so we can call this, it is a bucket of consecutive numbers. So in SQL Server, in advanced function, we have privilege to use lead and lag function. So we are going to use lead and lag function. This is the basic syntax of lead and lag. Don't worry, we will go step by step, so we'll have more clarity how can we use lead and lag to solve this problem. So just copying this query and pasting it below. Now we will try to solve this problem with the help of lead and lag. So lag means a number before and lead means a number forward. Okay, so I'm using lag. Okay, and how many numbers and what is the column scalar expression? Here it will be number, and how number we want to go before, we want to go before one number. Okay, we are using over. Is there any partition we need to do? No, and partition is also an optional clause, so we can also omit that. And we want data should be sorted on the basis of the respective ID. So what we are doing here, we are going one step back. Okay, so we can name this column as previous one. Let's execute this and see. As you can see here, the ID 1 does not have any previous value, so the value is null here. ID 2 has one previous value, that is ID 1, and the value for that is 1. Similarly for ID 3, so for ID 4 also. As for ID 5, the previous number is 2, which has having ID of 4, so it is populating here. Now if we can compare one more previous ID, like just copying this, just stay tuned with that, you will understand why I am just comparing with two previous ID and two next IDs. Okay, so first expression is the scalar expression and the column, and second is the offset value. We need to go two step before, and here I am just giving this name as previous 2, executing it once more. Like you can see that for the scenario of ID number 3rd, the previous 2 number is 1. For ID 2, there is no any previous 2 numbers, so we are getting null, and similarly for 1 also. Now if we want next number, then what we can use, we can use lead function to go one step forward. So I am just changing the name as lead, and how many steps we want to go forward, we want to go forward only one step, and we can change this name as next one. Let's execute this. Now for the scenarios of 1, we are having value 1. For ID 2, we are having 1. For ID 3, what is the next value? It is 2. We are having 2. Now we want one more step, and the second value is from the current row. Let's execute this, and the offset value is 2 here, and the next value is 2 here. Okay, let's execute and examine the data that we are deriving from it. Now for the ID 1, we are getting second value, means 1 and 2. Okay, so we are moving one step forward. For ID 2, we are moving one step forward from the current row, 1 and 2. As you can see here, we are getting 2. Okay, so what we did, we have compared the current row with the last previous two rows, and with the next previous two rows. Okay, and with the next two rows. Now what we have to do, we need to find the three consecutive numbers. Okay, so for the scenario of three consecutive numbers, we can take the example of we need to use this query once again. So there are two methods to use this query once again. If we can create a temporary tables, or we can create a CTE, or we can create a subquery. So in this video, we are going with the help of CTE. Okay, and I am just giving this name CTE as CTE only. Just executing the CTE, select star from CTE. Let's execute this and see what we will get in output. Yep, we're getting same. Why we have created this? Because we are going to use these columns, and in this step we don't have privilege to use that, but now with the help of CTE we can use this. Okay, so just let's pass the condition and solve the problem step by step. Now if where is used for filtering the data. If anyhow this number 1, okay, it is going to match with the previous one and next one. Got the point? If the number 1, so just write down the scenarios. Okay, if we can compare the number, this number with current row plus previous two row, then it is a consecutive number series like 2 before and current. There will be one more series if we can compare this number current row plus next two rows, and there will be one more series like if we can compare this current row plus one previous row plus one next row. So this will be three scenarios that we have to write down the query. What we are doing here, just understand this. We are comparing the data for this current row with the previous two rows. So here there is no scenario for that. And here we are comparing current row with the next two rows. Similarly for this also. But for third one, we are comparing this current row with one previous and one with next row. Okay. So these are the three scenarios, and everything will come in the bucket. Okay, so how can we write this? Just write it like num equals to previous row, means previous one, and this previous row, previous one row should be equals to previous two. Okay, so what we did, we have compared this current row with the previous row and this previous one record with the previous two records. Okay, now we will pass one more condition, like if this condition satisfies, then it is a consecutive number series. Can we execute this? Let's see. Yep, we're getting the number, but to make this code more usable, might be in some scenarios we will have some more cases. Okay, so let's pass some more condition here. Okay, the condition will be if num is equals to previous one, means that number should match with the previous one, and it should match with next one. Okay, and one more condition, this will be last condition, the number should match with next two and next one, or next two should match with next one plus. Okay, So this is how we can solve the problem for three consecutive numbers. Let's execute this and see. Yep. So we are having three rows because we applied three condition. But what we want only one distinct record. So if I'll pass distinct num, then we can solve this problem for three consecutive numbers. Okay. So this problem can be solved with the help of one condition only. But here the data set is too simple. But in industries or in the lead code or in any other interview platform, you need to pass all of these flags. Okay. So what we did comparison on the basis of previous row and previous two rows. Here we did the comparison with previous one rows and next one rows. And here we did the comparison with current row, with next row, and with the next row. I hope so that you understand the problem statement clearly. If you understand this concept and if you can do some modification, I request you all kindly just do some tweaks over the code and try to build up condition for consecutive two numbers. What I want a code for consecutive two numbers with the help of lead and lag function. So what is the problem statement? Like here you can see that these are the consecutive two numbers. These are the consecutive two numbers. These are the consecutive two numbers. And you need to solve with the same approach, like with the help of lead and lag function. The entire code will work for you. Only you need to do some tweaks over the where condition. If you have any doubts, then please just drop a comment. I'll publish a one separate video for this. If you're able to understand, then that is great. If you're liking the content, then please like, share, and subscribe among your friends. Thank you for watching. Have a great day ahead.